I think I accidentally gave myself a midlife crisis, and normally that comes from a bad situation. You've been slaving away at your 9 to 5 for years, and the mortgage is getting higher, and the kids are screaming, and you're just like, I'm suffocating, I'm buying a Porsche 911. So fortunately, the Porsche isn't coming. Not right now. Mine is kind of coming from a good place, kind of like a awakening type of experience where I've been here in Massachusetts for a month on vacation, and this is vastly different, intentionally vastly different than my 1-1 apartment back in Orlando, Florida. So I came here with my wife Giselle. We're saying we're gonna rent this house on a lake. It's private. There's nature. There is nothing competing for my attention. There's no distractions here. It is full peace. And I would have said, yeah, I bet that does feel nice. I bet that feels great. You don't have neighbors above you. Your carport isn't next to their carport. You're not hearing, I don't know, people circling around your area. Yeah, I assume that would be very nice. Well, turns out it's fantastic. And I am thinking, oh, okay, this is what I want. This is definitely what I want. No way I could afford this, especially in Massachusetts. I don't know how you guys afford any property here. This would probably be like $1 million, $2 million, something like that, because it's like one of those like older legacy properties that you just can't find anymore. But it is on Airbnb, and I could afford 1 month of it on Airbnb. I definitely could not afford the mortgage. When you go back to Central Florida, different story. I can afford a house there. It's not this type of house. And that's where the issue is coming in. So friend of the vlog, Adam Kalinowski, I contract for him quite a bit. We're usually working together in some different state. And he was sending me a message and he goes,
I bet it is awesome waking up on that lake, man. I'll say I get some form of that, you know, sitting on the patio or sitting in the backyard right now. Be curious to see what you do when you get back.
and I was like, yeah, what is going to happen? Because now I know I like this. Very much so. So when I go back, and I'll say with my current place in Florida, I love the nature integration that it has. I'm next to a river that I can swim in. I'm next to a spring that I can swim in. I'm crowded in by a lot of trees, and it's cooler there. But it's an HOA. It's very close proximity for the houses, for the apartments and condos that I'm in. It's like a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to translate this type of living experience in Florida. How do I do that? And after all my research, it seems like the only way is to take on massive debt through a mortgage. That's the only way I've seen to be able to be somewhat close to Orlando, like within an hour. I really don't want to drive 2 hours to the airport when I fly so frequently. So it's got to be less than an hour. Well, apparently everybody else is trying to live within an hour of Orlando and maybe even have a little bit of acreage. Have a spring-fed pond that I can swim in. Would much rather have that than a pool that requires maintenance. I don't know, some fruit trees. I can always plant those. Exposure to the sun. So this house, the back right here, is just window, 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 window. The master is like that as well. And that type of integration with nature is noticed every second of the day. It's noticed when I wake up, open my eyes, and I see this beautiful lakefront view. The other day I was looking at a snowing downpour, a little light snow on the lake. That was extremely beautiful. The next day it's foggy like this. The next day it's sunny. And I'm just like, yes, that is how a house should be architected. That is how big windows should be. I don't know, the architects in Central Florida, a lot of them were like, let's see how small we can make this window and how few windows we can have. This is the type of design that I like. And unfortunately, that's usually like a higher scale type of property where they encourage all of the natural light to come in. So you have all those factors, the proximity, the property type, lots of trees, shade, but still sun pouring through, being somewhat close to the airport, close to supermarkets and stuff. I don't want to be out in the sticks. It's bare minimum 700,000. It's out of my range. 700 is quite far to what I could comfortably afford. I think my lender would be like, dude, do it. You could totally do that. But in my own interest, I don't think that's the smartest plan of attack. So when I go back, I mean, I'm already on Zillow, like more than I'm on Instagram, so I don't need more of that. But I will say, if anybody else is in the Central Florida market, or depending whatever market you're in, I am seeing less houses pop up. The ones that are up are taking a little longer to sell. A few price reductions, but they're not going back to a level where it's like, go for it. No, it's going just like down a little bit. Like they're asking like way too much, and they're like, okay, we'll just ask too much. We won't ask way too much. And someone buys it. So that's very, very hard when my financial goals are still in the process. I always want to be living smaller than I'm making. That makes me feel good. That allows me to save for today. That allows me to save for the future. It allows me to buy investments, and the type of property that I want would flip that on its head. Like that would completely remove the ability to save. So then I have to think, am I already at the financial point where I can like let those investments cook, let my stocks and those accounts, can I just let them go? No, I'm not. I wanted to have, I got 3 accounts. I have the high yield savings account. I got like 3 to 6 months in there. Then I have the Roth IRA. I max that out every year. And then this one, the one I want to play with, is the brokerage, and I wanted 100K in there. I'm 30% of the way there. So, and with a month like this where I'm not working, I can't add anything. I wish I could add a whole bunch of YouTube view money, but I can't. There's not much coming in. So that's continuing to be like, well, I don't think you should jump into the house yet, because the goal was $100,000 in the brokerage. I'm 36, and just let that ship go. So if I want a house now, I can't complete that goal. And one of the most common answers is you don't solve for the problems, right? It's not like, okay, well, maybe if I rent a smaller place, or maybe if I cut back over here and I pull these expenses back, I'll be able to allocate the extra capital over here. Usually the right answer, short-term and long-term, is solve for more capital, solve for more income, and then you can do it all. You can put the money away into your accounts. I can put the money into a mortgage. And that is something I need to remind myself a lot, because I need to figure out, and I enjoy figuring out, how do I get more money in to be able to do the things that I enjoy. So there's 2 ways of looking at it. Misty. There's 2 ways of looking at it. One is, let me see how it goes. I live to work. No, do not want to live to work. I don't want to live to go to work, to only pay for the background expenses so that I can go back to work. Now, I want to do the opposite. I want to work to live. I want to work to give me money so that I can live the way I want to live. And that's how I think about money. I don't think about it as like taboo. I don't think about it as like it's the holy grail. I think about it as like that's just the gas. That's just the fuel for me to do the things that I want in life. This was one of the biggest ones because I was about to enter into buying a house last year, and I was talking with Giselle. Actually, I think I put it in a vlog a while ago. I said, I was walking around town with Giselle and I said, I'm thinking maybe we move here for a month and just like become one of the locals, experience it, how they experience it. And instead of getting into a mortgage, we put our money towards this. I'm very, very happy this didn't become one of those situations where we asked ourselves in 5 years, like, remember when we had that idea to move for a month somewhere? Ah, man, I wish we had done that. That hurts to feel. So I didn't want to feel that. So I just locked this thing down. And I'm very, very glad I did, because although like this, I don't know, pseudo midlife crisis thing is kind of funny in the moment, it's also like, it's just a good reality check. It's a good reality check for myself to think, what do I want and how do I achieve it? Yep.